and welcome back to another video. So in today's video we will be looking at supply that I recently unboxed in my recent haul video, and that is the Colour Cube by Sarah Renee Clark. I really wanted to delve into this properly, so I thought it would be a perfect standalone video. Now, these colour cubes are amazing. You can use them to colour code a room if you're doing some interior design. You can use them if you want a limited palette for colouring in a colouring book, or you can use them for art reasons in general. And that's what we are going to do. We're going to delve into these. We're going to pick a few of them and use them and see if we can use them to do artwork that I tend to do. So I tend to do traditional artwork. If you're new here, I do a lot of traditional artwork. I do a lot of nature inspired artwork, and I use a lot of reference images. And I'm hoping that we can apply these colour cubes to that, because they are not only beautiful and are going to look lovely on my shelves, but I'm hoping they're going to be practical as well. So just to show you one of the cards that are inside, I have pulled one out, and then we can see how we're going to use them. So for example, we have this image here. So this is a snowy scene with lovely cloud cover and blue sky, and they've picked colours out of this scene to create this palette. So this is a very generic palette. You know, you'd see the snow scene, you'd pick out the blues and the whites, etc, etc, but some of them are a little bit more abstract. Some of them are a bit more out there. So if you are doing an interior design, it would be a bit different, a bit less common to choose those colours and pair them together. So I thought it'd be really nice to push the boundaries. I'm going to pick one or two or three just to use, and then I'm going to find some reference images, either landscapes, animals, birds, things like that, and I'm going to apply just the colours. I don't know what supplies we're going to use yet. I will maybe use a few different ones, see what works the best. I probably will use my Polychromos pencils because I have a nice range of those, and I could probably match these colours very nicely. For underneath, maybe gouache or watercolour, but we will see. But I'm really excited. I hope you're excited too. I really want to delve into these. I think they're going to be exciting. There's a lot of scope, and that's what we're testing here. We're testing whether we can use these for pushing our limits with colour palettes. That's what I want to try this out on. Whether this will help me look at lights, darks, hues, contrast a little bit more by limiting my palette and not just going for the palette that's in the reference photo. I think that'd be really beneficial for learning. So that's what we're going to do. Let's find some reference photos and let's get cracking and see what supplies we will use to match these colour swatches. Alright, so for full transparency, I did actually choose 4 or 5 swatches in that first clip, but I've edited them out. You'll see me holding them at the end, but I just found them so uninspiring. Not the colour cube itself, there's nothing wrong with the swatches, I just didn't think they were a colour mix or something that was going to challenge me. I felt they were either all one tone or, I don't know, just didn't really make me want to create art with them. So I redid and chose 2 swatches off camera, and I have actually done the artwork for both swatches. However, you'll only see the artwork for one swatch, and I thought I would see how much you enjoyed this and how you enjoy me using the swatches, and then you will potentially see me do another video in the future, so do let me know. But I think the first challenge that we came across is actually finding supplies that match the swatch. Now, as you can see here, we've got this lovely sunset swatch and we have the pink balloon swatch above it, and I definitely found the pink balloon at the top harder to find colours for, so like I say, you'll see that in a different video, but those pinks and the greys are much more warm than you actually initially think. I actually had to use a lot of yellow to mix those colours up, so like I say, that's a challenge in itself, and you will see that in another video. But onto this sunset swatch. I loved the colours in this. It's a lovely sunset tone, but with this really nice tealy green and black, and I just thought it was a really interesting colour combination, and I really liked the look of it. And thankfully for this swatch, I actually had these colours there or thereabouts in my Derwent Inktense Inktense blocks, which was lovely. Other than this yellow, the yellow was a bit bright, so I had to mix in some of that initial orange on the left into it, and it created the perfect orangey hue that matched the swatch perfectly. But how amazing. I have a lovely set of these Inktense blocks, and I actually forgot how amazing they were. I think I go through trying different supplies so often that when I jump back to a supply that used to be one of my favourites, I remember how amazing they were, and I start using them again obsessively, and this has definitely jump-started my obsession with these Inktense blocks again, and I just love the colours, and these colours specifically matched really, really well, like I say. So for laying them out, I decided to do the swatch of the final chosen colours, write the names of the colours that are on the colour cube swatch, and then underneath write the names of the colours of the supply, so that if ever I want to jump back to this colour swatch and do a piece of artwork with them, I can find those colours really, really easily, and I won't have to retry swatching them in the future, which I thought was perfect. Then I think as a second challenge, I wanted to add in actually replicating the image that this swatch came from, so that we had a complete study on my sketchbook page. So above there, I sketched out the lovely sunset scene with the foliage in front of it, and I actually tried to replicate it with the supplies. And this acted as a perfect warm-up, because I was able to, one, jump into using these supplies cold, so that I knew how to use them. I was familiar with the way they worked, the way they blended and laid down on the paper. So that was a really nice thing to start. And also I thought it really changed the way I was thinking on using just these colours to create a piece of artwork. It was really, really helpful to do this. And this little piece of artwork definitely went through a hell of a lot of ugly stages. It took a bit of time, and I laid down the colour like this to create a base, using them almost like a pastel, and then I added the water to blend all this together so that I could then start building that colour up and building up the detail. Now, this probably won't work for most swatch studies, because some of the photos and some of the images on these swatches are very, very detailed, and to replicate them at this size would be very difficult, especially with certain supplies. It really depends on the supplies that I'm using. So I definitely think I may have to adapt this approach in the future when I'm doing studies, but for this one it definitely worked really, really well, and I really enjoyed it. The ripples on the water have a lot of lights and shadows and highlights, and luckily at this scale I was able to just almost hint at those details rather than having to input every single one onto the paper, which would have taken a very, very long time. But I think I managed to replicate it really, really nicely, and I'm really pleased with it actually. I think the detail I managed to get onto it, considering the supply was something I'd not used for a fair amount of weeks now, and the colours are very unique and bright, and I didn't want to muddy them because this is such a vibrant picture. It's not very muddy, it's a lovely vibrant picture, and to mix that tealy colour in with the oranges was a very risky move, because as you know, a bluey colour mixed with a yellowy colour is going to create a green, and I didn't want to make it too green, and I wanted to stick to that colour swatch, which was that nice deep tealy green colour. So it was a very fine line between muddying and creating the colour and laying down the colour how it needed to be laid down. But I'm going to let you watch me do this little bit of artwork, and then I'll join back in when we get on to the actual artwork at the end. Now I'm just adding the final details with a very, very fine brush of this foliage, and I really, really like it. And I like it so much that I actually have a photograph I took myself that's very similar to this. It's got the foliage in the foreground, it's got the sunset in the background, and I took it at an RSPB reserve, and I love it. And I think this has made me really want to replicate it in oils or something on a big canvas for one of our spare rooms. I think it will look really, really nice. I love the colours and everything, so that's something to do in the future. Now, on to my reference photo I chose. So I wanted to add in another layer of challenges, and that being, I don't really paint people. I've done them in the past, and it's not something I'm unable to do, but it's just not something I've leaned towards. And so I wanted to add that in as another challenge, that I could use these colours to replicate an image of a person. Now I found this really lovely reference photo of a gentleman looking up, and we see his profile view, and I just thought it would be perfect for this. I really resonated with it, and I thought it would be wonderful to replicate that in these colours, and that's what I did. I kind of looked at these colours and I thought the yellow, yes, I used the pure yellow, but I thought it's there or thereabouts, you get the gist. So do tell me if you think that's cheating. But I used the pure yellow as the highlights on this image, and then I used those oranges as the mid colours, and then the black and the teal became the shadows and the darks, and I think that worked really, really nicely. And this in itself is a different way of my painting. I don't really paint like this. I don't paint in cell shading or block colours. It's very different. I usually try and blend a lot more than this. So again, another challenge. These colour cubes are really opening up a mass of challenges for me just in this one study of them. And I think if you can use this as a resource as an artist, or even a non-artist, even if you're wanting to just practice art, you don't consider yourself very good, or you are literally in the initial stages of learning to paint, learning to draw, these colour cubes will open up a heck of a lot of studying and resource for you, because you can not only have colours picked for you, you can have a reference photo for you to mimic, you can then use them to do whatever you need to do. And like I said at the intro, these are perfect for colouring pages, for interior design. They're just incredible, and I honestly think this is going to be a resource I'm going to use a hell of a lot. You're going to see collections from me that might revolve all around just 5 colours, and those colours may have come from one of these colour cubes. So I'm really excited about them. I'm really excited to use them more, and I definitely think it's an incredible resource that a lot of artists should have in their back pocket. So I can't rant and rave about it enough, and I'm not going to keep waffling about it. I'm not going to keep going on about it, but I think using them in this way and using them to study like this spread that I've created here, I really, really love, and I definitely think I'm going to make some more of those. And like I said, I have done a second study, so if you do like this, do hit that thumbs up, do leave me a comment on how you would use these colour cubes, how you would like to use them non-art related, say something interesting. Do let me know in the comments below, and if you'd like to see the second swatch that I did or future swatches in the future, just drop me a line in the comments below and let me know. So thank you very much for watching. I'm going to let you finish this video and end on seeing the final result, and I hope you like it. So thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.